Hey all, Stacey Lee Walker back with another episode of the Blood Type Hockey Talk. You know, hockey opinions, overalls. And this is going to be the first of my weekly installments just talking about the game, you know, the men's game, the women's game, etc. And the NHL season opened up last week, which is friggin' awesome. It's about damn time. I've been waiting for quite a while now, just like as much time as everybody else has, obviously. And I realized that I did not make any predictions, so here goes nothing. I'm going to predict that the final four teams left in the NHL in the Stanley Cup playoffs will be in the Western Conference. It'll be more like a Western Conference story or a West Side story, depending on how we view things. It will be the Jets against the Sharks, Winnipeg, San Jose, and I don't know how it goes in the West Side Story because I haven't seen that in years. So if anybody wants to leave a comment and tell me how it goes and spoil it for me, you're welcome to. I predict that the Sharks will beat the Jets in about, let's just say 6 games. And in the Eastern Conference, it'll be Office Depot against Home Depot, and by that I mean it'll be the Pens and the Bolts, Pittsburgh Penguins, Tampa Bay Lightning, and I think Tampa Bay will beat them. And it will be the Stanley Cup Finals will go to 7 games, and Tampa Bay will defeat San Jose in 7 games. I'll even pick the Conn Smythe winner. I think it'll be Nikita Kucherov or Andrei Vasilevsky. It depends on if the Tampa Bay Lightning rely more on goaltending or if they rely more on their offense, which I'm betting towards the offense, so Kucherov will probably win the Conn Smythe this year based on these predictions. The AHL, American Hockey League, the top farm feeder league to the National Hockey League, opened up their season, and I'm just going to pick 2 random teams that I think have, their organizations are decent, but I don't know if they are actually going to make a run at the Calder Cup, which is, the trophy that the Toronto Marlies won last year, and the trophy that the AHL playoffs winner gets, the Calder Cup. My prediction is that the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, the farm team for the Philadelphia Flyers, will defeat the Manitoba Moose, the farm club for the Winnipeg Jets, in about 6 games. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now let's get into hockey. I mentioned something about the Toronto Maple Leafs goalie situation, and they resolved it by placing Curtis McElhinney and Calvin Pickard on waivers. Neither of them cleared. Neither of them returned to the Toronto Marlies. That's just how waivers work. I'm not going to make a video right now about how waivers work. It's just it's a bit complicated. Maybe I should make it in a future video. Anyways, so Carolina, the cultural appropriating Carolina Panthers, or did I say Panthers? Shit. The Carolina Hurricanes, kings of cultural appropriation with their Hartford Whalers stunt that they're going to be pulling in December, picked up Curtis McElhinney. Curtis McElhinney actually picked up a win for them on Friday night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. So it was a 3-1 win. Calvin Pickard, I believe, went to the Philadelphia Flyers, so he'll get some gritty. He'll get to hang out with Gritty, lucky bastard. And Garrett Sparks is actually an Illinois native, and that's where he will be playing tonight against his hometown team, the Chicago Blackhawks, who have actually had a pretty impressive start to the season. People thought they were going to be terrible, myself being one of them. I thought the dynasty was over, but they beat the Senators in overtime, and I believe they won their last game as well. So, yeah, good for them. I don't really like them, but hey, they're keeping things going. It should be interesting to see how they fare against the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Next, I want to talk about Brad Marchand and the big bad Boston Bruins, who were big and pretty bad against the Washington Capitals in their first game. Yeah, they lost pretty good. That was 7-0. That was pretty bleak. Lars Eller taunted the bench after that 7th goal, and Brad Marchand being Brad Marchand, not exactly the type to let him get away with it. He throws a few fists square between the eyes, and not a good ending for the guy that scored the Stanley Cup winning goal, Lars Eller. And to taunt you'd think a guy who had just scored a Stanley Cup winning goal would have a better perspective on things than taunting somebody during a blowout in the first game of the season. Come on. But then again, people are trying to make Marchand out to be worse than Tom Wilson, who, of course, with that head-hunting hit, took a guy out on, I believe, the St. Louis Blues. I should really be more informed than this, clearly. Hey, at least I admit it. And he got a 20-game suspension, and what an idiot. He did this in preseason. Just what Marchand does. Marchand is a friggin' pest. I can't stand him. But what Tom Wilson does to the game is disgraceful. It's more toxic. You know, licking people, a few haymakers here and there, some pesky behavior after the whistle. That's more Brad Marchand, whereas Tom Wilson actually goes out and injures people. There's a big difference. Speaking of Marchand and the Bruins, let's talk about their biggest rivals, the Montreal Canadiens. And the Canadiens have actually, I know it's early, but they've looked pretty damn good. They shouldn't have lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs on their opener, which I actually watched in French, fun fact. And they pulverized the Penguins in there, and I think that was last night. And they look like a damn good team. And props to Claude Julien. If this keeps up, they might actually be better than people have expected them. They might surprise a lot. They've already surprised me with the way they played, especially against the Leafs. Anyways, moving on, speaking of Canadian teams, two teams that have had it out for each other this season that have played really well, it's been some great hockey. I've seen some highlights. I actually watched last night's game. It was the Calgary Flames and the Vancouver Canucks. Holy shit. These two teams can fucking play. I was really just impressed with the all-out offense I saw on both sides of the puck, and some of the goaltending was really impressive. I believe Mike Smith, with his throwback mask to honor Mike Vernon, made some amazing saves, and it was just a great game. There were a lot of goals, and I'm really excited to see what these two teams, the Calgary Flames have a bit more of a revamped look and could push for a playoff spot. Vancouver's not expected to do much, but I think they could surprise some people. Then again, it is early. The NWHL season is actually starting as we speak, the National Women's Hockey League, and I'm just going to make a prediction right here. I think the Buffalo Beauts are going to take back their Isabel Cup after losing last year to the Metropolitan Riveters. I think they will actually take it right back from the Metropolitan Riveters, because not many of these teams are really impressing me. I think that one team that could surprise people would be the Minnesota Whitecaps. Yeah. Anyways, I think we've come to the point where let's talk about the winners and losers of this week. There are some candidates on either side of it. I almost wanted to say the Toronto Maple Leafs as a whole were losers, but I'm not going to. I'm going to start with the winner of the week, and it would be Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks. If you saw him play last night, you're going to see why. He was unbelievable. He's been unbelievable in both the games that he's played against the Flames. Unfortunately, his team did not get the win last night, but he's been playing some damn good hockey, and he's a great young player, and I'm really excited to see what comes for him. This week's loser will be his fellow Swede and contract holder outer person with the Toronto Maple Leafs, William Nylander. Dude, William Nylander needs to get over himself. He was like a scared turtle in the playoffs for the Leafs. And he's not worth what he thinks he's worth. He's worth about $6 million. He should take the $6 million, thank Mr. Dubas for offering them that, and get on with it and try to catch up with the rest of his team. But judging by the way the Leafs have played their first two games, it won't take as long to catch up. But Nylander, I'm done with him. There's no need for that. He's not worth what he thinks he's worth. Maybe with a team that has no star players, maybe, I don't know. No, he's just not worth it. But Elias Pettersson, know the name. He's going to be a great player. And we're closing in on the 10-minute mark, so good stuff. I will see you all next week. And if you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, feel free. If you don't, do what you want. It's a free country for now. So I will see you all next week.